Well, 2023 was an interesting year. And by interesting, I mean people continue to commit atrocities against people weaker, poorer, and browner than themselves. And since there's nothing we can do about it except donate funds, shouting Free Palestine, Congo, and Sudan, ask the colonizers to stop pretty please, and scream into the void, we have to choose certain forms of escapism sometimes. What better escapism than a bunch of people committing atrocities? No, but seriously, we should be able to separate real-world horrors from fictional stories with nuance and dynamism. And I must say, the anime adaptation for Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, is bringing a lot more nuance and dynamism than the original. Kubo and his team are fixing the shortfalls and mistakes he made 10 years ago. And thinking back on last year, my opinion hasn't changed. And for any of the people who might have been saying that the ending of the manga was fine, you need to argue that point with Kubo instead of me. Clearly, he agrees with me to some degree. Otherwise, he wouldn't be changing anything. I still think he needs to go back to the drawing board where Burn the Witch is concerned. Right now, the story is a mess, and no one has brought a coherent argument otherwise. Hell, in the video I made discussing Burn the Witch, a number of people accused me of just hating both Kubo and Bleach, when in the very same video, I praised Kubo for how good Bleach turned out despite its flaws, proving that being a superfan of someone's work often destroys a person's media literacy. At least Kubo is better than another mangaka that I know of, because after his assertion about the existence of evil babies, I lost all the respect I had for Horikoshi as a writer, which wasn't much, but still. So looking back at My Hero Academia last year, I'd have to say my outlook hasn't improved. It's actually gotten worse. I mean, Horikoshi killed off both Toga and the subject of my next video, Stain, two events which epitomize how lazy and disgraceful a writer he is. But the one person who it would have been fine to make a martyr, the angry twink bitch boy Bakugo, Horikoshi resurrects him? Really? Anyway, in 5 years, My Hero will be remembered as a memorable but mediocre at best animanga, like Mirai Nikki. As per the title of this video, I want to talk about something I didn't get into in any significant way last year. While I did try and mostly failed to do some gaming content, I think it's time I do like everyone else and also give my unsolicited opinions about games as much as I do anime and other things. So here goes. Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing game that did something unprecedented. It delivered what it promised to deliver. It's kind of sad that a game and studio that have peaked into the AAA sphere are distinguished for delivering something complete, innovative, and polished, because you would expect that to be the standard of AAA gaming. But oh well, I guess. Launching incomplete and buggy games seems to be the standard these days. On the other hand, I can also condense the discourse around its Game of the Year win into a single paragraph. Spider-Man, Zelda, Resident Evil, those are all well-known and beloved IPs and titles. Spider-Man is a beloved character spanning comics, cartoons, and movies. But what the hell is Baldur's Gate or Dungeons & Dragons? What's that nerd shit? As one YouTube comment on a video I watched asserted, BG3 is just a glorified board game. That's a pretty elitist take to have when we're all staring at our screens at ridiculous shit like magical swords and men who shoot spider webs. Because that's what this really boils down to. Elitism. Now, I don't really care. But if you're gonna actively choose to make your experience poorer by being a big loser baby about all this, then I gotta tell you, it's only gonna get worse for you over the next few years. All manner of games exist, and indie games have continued to save the gaming industry and keep it afloat. The industry in general is slowly recognizing this, so if you think liking one game and hating all others makes you superior, then have fun tilting at windmills, I guess. Anyway, on the subject of video games, I do want to do more game-related content, but I feel like I need to branch out a bit more. Be less sentimental, more cerebral, or something like that. Point is, I've been boxing myself in a bit too much and I need to broaden my scope and perspective. So this year we'll be looking at all kinds of things. Western animation, concepts and themes in movies, concepts and themes in games, genre and media comparisons. We're going to be covering a bit more this year. No set timeline or schedule, but between 1 and 3 months per video or occasionally shorter, depending on the length and amount of research necessary. So anyway, here's hoping that everyone watching this has a great year. Even people who disagree with me, which leads us to this Chekhov's gun that you've probably been wondering about for this entire video. Now, I promised last year not to be quite so mean, but this is the one allowance I'm giving myself. Because if you're gonna make a comment like this on my most popular video, that's a fairly dog-brained move to make. Literally, it's the equivalent of a dog at the side of the road, barking at cars speeding across the highway. I can't take this seriously. It's not saying anything useful. It's meaningless noise. Okay, enough of that. By law, I cannot be mean to anyone for another 3 months. See you next time!